This video, let's let it be not only an economic lesson, we'll go through all of that as well, but I guess more importantly for people that aspire to be great and do great things, and you've heard me say this a million times, you need to be prepared as you see a level of success. For people to attempt to destroy everything it is that you have going, and they're going to work overtime for it, especially if they feel like you're undeserving of it. This is what haters do. There's nothing you can do to stop them. You can be the nicest person in the world. None of it matters. They exist to hate, and that's pretty much all they're ever going to do. So you got to be prepared for that. Now, you guys remember when we announced our partnership with Comic Books for Kids, and we got that idea two ways. One, we kept getting requests for it, a type of option like that. And I got the idea from my man's Jay, aka Drunk 3PO, who had this on his campaign, where basically for very cheap, you could donate a bunch of the books during that campaign that will go straight to a charity. Now, we had discussions before that, of course, launched on our page directly with Comic Books for Kids. So we'll go through what it is that they had to say about it publicly here in a little bit. But, you know, we started the sort of relationship off with a donation that, you know, we discussed a bunch of options. We discussed what as well they needed and what else they needed to do and future projects. And we said, you know, I said more so I would donate to that cause before we ever launched it, before we saw a dime from what happened with ISOM 2 or what's going on with ISOM 2. And we had some agreements. What we announced publicly was that we would sell these books for cheap, and we would basically act as a distributor. So if you wanted to purchase the books to donate directly to Comic Books for Kids, as transparent as possible, you're the one that's donating. We just act as the distributor, shipper, store, packager, whatever. That's it. You can get a donation receipt to prove that. And, you know, we discussed that as an option among other things. We launched it, and it's been a great success. And I don't want to undermine that at all. Over 1,200 books have been donated by you all, and we appreciate that so much. Now, weirdos came out the woodwork, and it's the same handful of, you know, bad actors. Some of them has been YouTubers as well that have rabbit faces, and they're not very fond of me. And because they are narcissists, right? This is how they act. They think everything revolves around them. So they make it about them, and they're showing just how screwed up they are because they're taking what is a good cause where all the parties that are involved are happy with the transaction and the partnership. They're making it about themselves and their hatred for me. These people think they have the moral high ground, and obviously that is not the case. You have guys like this right here. And, you know, he says, for example, it doesn't cost $17.50 to print a comic. You know, those charities have enough comics, right? Like comic stores dump surplus of product on them. Charities don't need comics. They need money. OK, so they actually need both. They need the money because it'll help with their operations, paying the people that work within their organization, as well as, of course, to get it shipped and all the events and everything it is that they put on. Now, this is null and void for us because, well, we're doing both. They're getting money as well as the books themselves. So you can donate not just the books, you can donate action figures, you can donate other stuff. You yourself, if you want to do this for Comic Books for Kids, go into their website. But to say they don't need it is nonsensical because that's specifically what it is that they do. OK, with that being said, the cost thing right here is interesting because $17.50 is half of the price of what it is that we are selling it. And if you, of course, bundle it, the more you bundle it, the more your books you're able to purchase to donate. And so the average, for example, if you buy, let's say, ISOM 1 and ISOM 2 in the ketchup pack bundle, which most people actually got, you're able to, that's $25, right? That's 17.5 times 2 is not $25. Okay. So the more, and that we have a bundle of 5, we have a bundle of 10 books as well. And the more, of course, you bundle, the more books you're able to purchase to incentivize you to continue to purchase the items. Now, keep in mind, these are books that we printed with no intentions of actually giving them away. right? Or selling them at $17.50. There was no intention to ever do this. This is our print, which we already did. We already had paid for. Those prints were designed to be sold. So this was not calculated when we first purchased them. OK, which is OK. It's for a great cause. We've made some money with we're at what, 1 point, almost closing on $1.7 million. We've made some money. OK, so this is for a great cause. And because of how much everything costs, if you like, say, average it out, I'm being generous. Let's say if you $14, OK, because of the bundles and stuff, let's say is the price per book effectively. If you're going here, we got what, 1,200, right? So that would be 14 times 12. That would be what, 17,000 or so. So 17,000, to put this into perspective, this is what you have to understand from the economics as far as the cost. To put this into perspective, that would not pay for where we're at for over 10,000 square foot. You're not, that's not going to pay for your mortgage, let alone anything else like your rent or whatever it's going to be, whether it be rent or mortgage. That's nothing. On top of that, right, we've given the money, and we'll discuss this. I made one donation prior to y'all even knowing this was a partnership because I like the cause and I like what it is they're doing. And we talked about some of their future aspirations. And I've said, I'm going to drop the money off rip. So that wouldn't pay for, we're not making, what the point is I'm trying to make, we're not making money off of these. Anyway, we're not. This is why they're sold for half. We're not. At best, we're able to function and operate, but that would not pay. 17,000 would not pay for really anything. Okay. With that being said, and this is what makes these guys narcissists, and this is an update for you guys who never saw it. Comic Books for Kids gave an update themselves, and this is what they said. When a creator contacts us and works with us, we are thrilled as long as the materials are all ages suitable. We know that we can give some goodies to the kiddos based on the level of maturity. We can provide items to the troops. We have one mission, and that is to simply provide the goodies provided to us back to the kiddos. So whether it be their books, all that, and the troops, they do give books to troops as well. It has only been a couple of weeks since we were contacted by Mr. Eric July. Eric informed us that someone on his staff knew of our organization and wanted to make a difference. We discussed donation options, and a selection was put up on his website, allowing others to order books for the charity. And let's be clear, that was a collaborative effort. OK, that was after discussing all of what we had on the table. This is what made the most sense to like launch this partnership, if you will, because there was so many eyes on ISOM 2, and it was a great idea. So this wasn't something that was just at random. Both of us collaborated on that. Now, just a couple of weeks later, and thanks to the many supporters, their website is showing that over 1,000 books will be donated to CB4K. And big shout out to the Rippaverse customers. You are the best. However, what Eric and his team have not stated, and we want to publicly thank him for, is that this team has taken proceeds from each book and sent it back to Comic Books for Kids. In just the last 2 weeks, Eric and his team have donated over $8,000 to support our initiatives for this year. Furthermore, there is a commitment to continue to provide us with books and additional funds from each book purchase. Thank you, Eric and team, for making a difference to so many. And you guys that watch my stream know I talked about us giving money but to launch it, and we were going to continue to drop more money, and I just never told you the price or how much that was going to be because it wasn't important. And I did say if they wanted to announce it, they could. That was on them. But this ain't a show. This is for the cause. OK, so we discussed internally with them what it is that we were going to be doing. So if you took that $8,000, right, that we over $8,000 and counting that we're going to continue to give them throughout the subsequent months, weeks and months, and you subtract that from the 17,000, right, what you got, like 9 or so thousand, give or take, right? $9,000 would not run my operations for a week. I have payroll, guys. I have a big warehouse and headquarters so we can continue to distribute these books. OK, we have the packaging, the labor that's involved in all of that with our warehouse staff. Again, that price isn't even half. 8,000 isn't even half of what we would pay in just mortgage and rent alone. That's not including everything else, electricity and all that other stuff. That's not including any of that. So the longer this goes on, the more we're technically operating in the red. And I'm okay with that because it's for a good cause and we're making our money elsewhere. Okay. And this is something that, again, was agreed upon by us and them. So what happens with these narcissists that hate me so much, and that drives everything, they make it about them. So they think that they have to be included in the affairs that doesn't even involve them, just so they can express their hatred towards me and try to basically defame and do all that sort of weird stuff. The customers are happy. We're happy. Comic Books for Kids, which is most important, this is why we're doing this, is happy. So why on earth would you make this about them? Why would you make this about you? More so is what I'm meaning by them. Why would you make this about yourself? Why would they make this about them? Because they don't care about anything. Their hatred for me is well above what we're doing for children. They care more about their hatred for me. And this is just yet another branch that they're reaching towards to try to knock. And it is disgusting. And these guys are pieces of shit. And I want to be very clear about that. And again, thank you. And this is what matters. Thank you to all the customers. Thanks to every single one of you that made this a successful aspect of our campaign. We're building a great partnership. We already have the partnership, and there's other things it is that we're going to continue to do with Comic Books for Kids. I love their cause. I love what it is that they're doing. And we want to make sure that we continue to do that. Right. There's nothing that's going to stop that from continuing to happen. But you have these weirdos who, again, are narcissists. They think the world revolves around them, and they are the great arbiters of what's actually taking place and the great arbiters of what's going on. So they're caping on behalf of an organization that's already happy with the actual partnership. Imagine that. Imagine trying to hijack something that's happening for these children for yourself to knock me. Again, we're not dealing with good people. But again, you guys are awesome. We appreciate you guys so much. Over 1,200 books and counting that are being donated. And we're going to continue to not only support them with making sure you guys get their books. And, you know, again, I didn't even mention this. You know, we talk about shipping costs and freight and all that storage that we're basically, because we're dedicating a portion of our warehouse for them. Right. So as needed, those books they're able to get from us as well, in addition to the proceeds. This is more transparent than what you would get. Let's say you go to whatever store and they always say, sometimes it's on behalf of an organization. Oftentimes it's on behalf of themselves. Donate X amount, whether it be your change or you can enter in amount, and they will use that money to then go pay for their own toys being distributed to someone else, or food, or whatever it is that they're doing. Right. You have no idea. There's just a dollar amount. What we did was say, this is exactly what you're paying for. This is how much it costs. And this is exactly what we're going to do with it. And apparently that's a problem. Operational costs are a thing, no matter how big or small a business is. But especially a smaller business, more newer business, that's an important aspect of it. Right. So if you look at like what it is that we're charging, if we charge $17.50, let's just put this into perspective for our books, we wouldn't be making really hardly any money. If we charge that for all of them, let alone $14, it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't work out. We have too much that we're spending elsewhere, and it wouldn't accommodate that. It wouldn't be able to pay for our operations. You go to whether it be a nonprofit that's selling a certain product, you're not charging what it is that it costs to simply produce it, because what's factored into that cost is everything. It's what it costs to not only produce it, but also the overhead, also how much it costs to operate the business and function in itself, because you got to make the money to pay people to provide the service. Right. That's a thing, man. It's just, I don't know if you think it just gets printed out of nowhere. Nobody does anything. Nobody's get paid to do jack diddly. That's not how it works. And it's unfortunate that so many people definitely in this country have such economic illiteracy that they think that's all that is associated with the cost. Like that's just it. Just whatever it costs to produce it, and you just add a little and you make a little money. No, it's not how it works. That's not how it works. Not how it's ever worked. Bottom feeders. So what they do. If you like this video and want to get into a new comic book universe, visit Rippaverse.com. Our first campaign for ISOM 1 hit $3.7 million, and the pre-order campaign for ISOM 2 is currently live. So go check it out and watch the official launch trailer, which is the first animation of Rippaverse Studios.